Lost it all, everything went downhill. Everything went downhill.
I've just tried so many different things, like
not get into college because I had such bad grades, because
I went from 0 to 1.5 million in 12 months. A dude who was sick of what he was doing. And
Hey, how you doing, guys? My name is UMAR ASHRAF, and I'm a stock trader.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Are you a millionaire?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be the title then. Yeah.
So basically, I started trading when I was 18. That's when I first got into the market. And when I first started, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, hey, I want to dabble into stocks. I want to make money. And I know so many people make money off stocks. So I was like, let me jump into it. I had about 20 grand saved up at the time. And the money I had saved up, what I did was I put all of it into the market without having any knowledge. So I know everything, I know what I'm doing. Let me just take all my money and dump it into the market. So now, once I put everything into the market, next thing you know is I made a few trades. I remember the first stock I bought was JCPenney. So the first trade I made was around, it was a January, because that's when my birthday is, and I turned 18. I opened up a brokerage account and I bought JCPenney. And I made $2,500 on that trade. So now, after that, I kept taking all my money and dumping it into one stock, no risk management, nothing. Retail was falling, so I was like, oh, JCPenney, they're never gonna go down. Let me buy them. So I bought them, and next thing you know, they went up 2 days later, and I made about $2,500.
And you sold it?
Yeah, and I sold it and made $2,500.
Wow.
And it went up, I think,
Interesting.
a few percentage. And as it went up, my portfolio went up $2,500. So I just made $2,500 off one trade.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, wow, I'm in high school, I made $2,500. Oh man, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And it kept going well for me. It was all beginner's luck. So my account went from 20 grand to 35 in a matter of 2 months.
Then you put 35 into one thing?
Everything into one thing. I knew no risk management. I had no idea what I was doing. So it was working for me.
Right, like every book I've read on it says don't do that.
Don't, exactly, but I didn't read anything. I just dumped my money into that one stock over and over again.
This sounds like too good to be true.
Yeah, and then, I mean, obviously everything that's too good to be true goes downhill.
Okay.
So now, once I built my account to 35,000 in 2 months, what do you think happened next?
You lost it all.
I lost it all. Everything went downhill.
Everything?
Everything went downhill. In a matter of 6 months. Bad trade here, bad trade there, bad trade here, bad trade there, and everything just went down, and my account finally hit about $2,000.
Okay.
In a matter of 4 or 5 months. And now, once that happened, I took a step back, and everyone around me was like, stocks are risky, stocks are gambling, don't touch stocks, stay away from stocks. So I started, it kind of got to me. I'm like, oh man, maybe stocks isn't the right way to go. It's something I should stay away from. But I was like, you know what? I know so many people that actually make money off stocks. So let me actually keep focusing on this. I didn't know what I was doing. So now let me take a step back and actually try to learn the right way. Because in the stock market, there's always a winner and there's a loser. So if I lose 2,000, you made 2,000. So it's like you're kind of taking my 2,000 from me, and the broker just makes his or her commission. So I was like, okay, I lost it. Somebody beat me. They beat me at the game, so I just need to get better.
Yeah.
So now, long story short, for the next 6-7 months, all I did was I was focused precisely just on the market.
Okay.
I was just focused directly on the stock market, how it's moving. I was watching YouTube videos. Whatever I was watching, I would apply it with real money. So starting from 2000, I worked my way back up, but I restarted my account in the next January when I was 19. But now when I restarted my account, I started it with 5,000.
Okay.
So I saved the money, I had 5,000, and now when I had 5,000, I kept trading, and
you put it all in to one.
But now it was a little bit smarter, because
Okay.
now I knew what I was doing.
Huh.
So instead of me putting all 5,000 into a trade, what I was doing was I was taking smaller positions. The purpose of that was for me to learn. I was like, okay, instead of me putting 5,000 and losing 5-6%, let me only put 1,000. Now if I lose 5-6% on 1,000, it's $50-$60, but I'm getting the learning experience.
Okay.
So now, once I started doing that, I gave that about 2-3 months, and I would learn so many new things on my own. Like, oh wow, when this line crosses that line, the stock moves up.
Yeah.
When this goes here, the stock goes down. So I started picking up all these things as I was reading books, because I was reading and then I would apply it. My first year wasn't the greatest. I made money, but I think it was maybe I made around 20-some thousand. It wasn't.
This is all short-term stuff.
All short term.
Yeah.
All short term.
And now you're a millionaire.
Yeah. Took me 3 years, by 2012 I remember.
Was there any big break, like where like,
I had big breaks with gold last year.
Gold?
Yeah, in 2017, gold, there's ETFs for gold. They were spiking up like crazy. I remember it went from like $18 to $80 in a matter of a month. So every day I would be trading it.
Wow.
It would go up, and I was margining the whole trade. Margin is when you borrow the broker's money.
For people who don't know my story, so I have kind of a typical story, right? Like I went to college, I did kind of everything that everyone in society was telling me to do. I went to a good college, I got a good degree that I was gonna get a job with, right? Like I double majored in accounting and computer science. So like I was pretty much guaranteed a job. And I did well, I had good grades, and kind of the job that everyone wanted in my major was for the Big Four. And so the Big Four, for people who don't know, are like these Big Four accounting companies that are prestigious and like, they're always ranked on like places people want to work, and they probably pay for that, to be honest. Like I don't think anyone would actually like want to work there. But so what happened was I got brainwashed to really think that I should want this and I should be so grateful. And I got a job where 500 people applied and they only chose one person. But kind of how it turned out was I was just being grinded down to the bone. Like I was working 80-hour weeks, with a 90-minute commute there and back. And so I'd leave at 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, and I'd get back at 9 p.m. Or later sometimes. And so I was just, I kind of realized, even though everyone was telling me, how grateful and how happy and how, appreciative I should be, I was realizing, why is everyone saying this? This isn't like what I want. I want to travel the world, and 2 weeks a year of vacation is just not enough for me. And so I kind of did that. I put my time in, I saved money as fast as I could, lived very, very frugally for about a year. And then I started all of this. Man, my first win was before Amazon, long before it, because ever since I was a little kid, I didn't like traditional jobs. Like my traditional job before I worked at PwC as an accountant was I worked as a lifeguard, and I think I was 14. But besides that, I've never really had a normal job other than when I worked for Facebook.
Wait, you worked for Facebook?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah, so I worked for
badass.
Yeah, so we can talk about that in a second. So I worked as a lifeguard when I was super young, and then I basically kind of figured out entrepreneurship, but I was too young to even realize what an entrepreneur was really. But I was like buying and selling like candy at like bulk, and like I was like buying and selling concert tickets, and like I was trying to like monetize WordPress sites, and like I've just tried so many different things. Like people you only hear about people once they've had success, right? Like you wouldn't hear about someone if they're failing all the time, right? But I've failed a ton. Like I made an iOS app, I tried to make a game, and like I've done so many different things that failed, and people only starting to hear about me now that I've been able to get some success. But my first kind of win was with a Craigslist hustle, actually, back in the day, using Craigslist, just to go and find deals and then resell it on Craigslist, clean it up a little bit with some friends and things like that. And so we were able to make enough money to kind of live how we wanted when we were younger, much younger, just using Craigslist, no other choice. And so I think it made entrepreneurship easier for me almost, because there was never another option in my mind. It was just like, you haven't done it yet, keep going. You haven't done it yet, keep going. You're making little gains, keep going. Like that didn't work, let's try something else. Like there was never kind of an option to give up at all. Like I expanded, and now I have affiliate marketing as an income stream, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, selling courses at my Amazon physical products business, Shopify, Facebook ads agency, right? All of these different streams of income, and within each stream there's additional mitigation, just so you can't let somebody else control your destiny, right? And so I worked really hard to kind of get away from that.
Yeah. You became a millionaire just from real estate.
Yeah.
When you were
26.
in your 26s.
I've always been really frugal, and that's been the one thing that stuck with me, because I remember growing up, neither of my parents really had any sort of money whatsoever. And I remember making a $20 bill last the entire week, and having 20 bucks and being like, $10 can go towards gas, $5 can go towards a Starbucks, and $5 went towards a $5 Subway footlong sandwich. And just the value at the time of $20 just stuck with me. So I've always been super frugal, but I've also been super interested in just making money. But I didn't want to work a shitty job or something I really didn't like, and I didn't want to be forced to work a 9 to 5 or be forced to do something that I didn't really want to do. So that was a big catalyst for me to decide to do something that I felt that I can control how much money I make, control what I do. And real estate was something I just really fell into. Did not get into college because I had such bad grades, because I would ditch school to go and work part-time instead, and that was where I got like my $3,000 from, was from ditching school. So I ended up not getting into any college just because my grades were that bad because I would miss school. And it was at that time that I decided to get my real estate license, and initially I was going to get the real estate license and then do it for a year and then reapply back to colleges, because both of my parents, they were the first ones to go to college in their family. So for them, it's like they're the son, you know, their only kid. Our only hope, you know, of survival is our one son has to go to college, so they're like super nervous about that. So anyway, I got my real estate license, and 9 months in, I sold my first house, and more money than I'd ever seen in my life. The home was $3.5 million, and the total commission on that was something like $70,000.
Damn.
And this is like when I was like just turning 19 years old. And that was more money than I'd ever seen. And it was at that point that I realized that I'm never going back to school after that. If I could sell one home at $3.5 million, I could sell another one. And 2 months later, I sold another one for $1.2 million. And then after that, it continued to snowball from there. And then I just continued living frugally, and that was a huge aspect of that. It's just not spending money.
It's amazing.
I honestly didn't believe that a 19-year-old or 18-year-old kid could ever sell a house, and that was my biggest limiting belief, because so many people were telling me no one was going to trust, because it was brand new. People wanted someone with experience, people who've been in the business for a while, and I was just like this young kid. Biggest limiting belief, and now it's just selling the first house was really just gave me the confidence to realize like it's possible. And just believing it was possible and having the confidence that I've done it once, I can do it again, that's what led to the second sale. I wouldn't have gotten that second sale if I didn't make the first. And I wouldn't have made the first sale if I didn't randomly meet someone at an open house that honestly just gave me a total chance to help them find them a house. Because, I mean, they knew I was pretty young. I think I lied at the time. I think I was 18 and I lied that I was 19. I was like 19,
I'm 19 and a half.
And I lied that I was 20. I lied 1 year up, thinking that 1 year was going to make a huge difference. But they really gave me the chance. And it was just that confidence alone that just kind of made everything else self-fulfilling from there. Mine too, I had no other choice. I had no other backup option. It was either I try to become a drum player, or I get my real estate license and try to do a career. Like, college was not an option. I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. Like, this was my only way to actually do something, was to get my real estate license. So I had no other option at that point. The thing that really ended up helping was just investing that. And that really made the biggest difference, because when you invest, I mean, it really works for you in a way that you don't have to constantly go out there and bust your ass. And if it wasn't for investing, I don't know if I would be a millionaire right now, because it was investing. So I realized at that point that the income was inconsistent working as a real estate agent. I could do really well 1 month, nothing for 4 or 5 months, and then really well the 6 months in, and then nothing for a few more months, and I didn't like the inconsistency of that. So I decided to invest all the money I had saved up over 4 years. I mean, at this point, I was 3.5 years in the business of being a real estate agent, and I would watch what my clients do, and I'd see where they're investing and how they're investing, and I would really, to the point where I basically just copied what they were doing. I saw the areas that they were buying in, I saw the reasoning behind it, and it made sense, and I just copied that. And so that's what I bought. I bought my first place for next to nothing. I mean, they're all like short sales. First place was $60,000. I spent $12,000 fixing it up. Second place was $72,000. Spent $8,000 fixing that up. Third place was $125,000. Spent $15,000 fixing that up, and that was a triplex. And that was really the base. I mean, that was really kind of what got me and started real estate investing, and just getting that rent every month, not having to worry about like, oh, if I don't sell a house, I'm not making money this month, but just having that consistency. I didn't care what.
My name is Mike VESTIL. I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm also a business automation expert. You know, I have this skill set to find businesses in marketing and sales and seeing kind of like where they are lacking, right? And to kind of like take that and, you know, the owner's head out of their own business so they could actually see it on a 40,000 foot overview so they could actually, you know, scale to the next level. You know, I went from 0 to 1.5 million in 12 months when I started one of like my initial successful companies. And you that, you know, it didn't always start off like that. You know, like I remember when I started off in entrepreneurship when I was like 18 years old. And I had this dream, this goal for that freedom, you know, travel around the world, to help my mom, to help my dad. And I remember there were so many times I felt like I was going crazy, building my business, building my dream, right? And that's kind of like the entire time, like ever since I was 18 years old, I was always doing businesses. I remember, you know, I would like save up $1,000, I would start a business, and then I would just like fail. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go work. I remember I was like flipping signs for GNC to like kind of get people, traffic and conversions, to like get some protein, right? And you know, I was like, I would make money there, and then I would just then throw it into a business, get really excited, tell all my friends about it, and then I'd fail. Every single time, but I didn't care because I knew the life that I wanted was way more than any little piece of pain that I was currently going through. And I mean, it just kept on going, man, like idea, tell all my friends. Then I would just like fail and get like ridiculed and made fun of, and I just kept on going and kept on going. And it even got to the point where like, as I was getting older, you know, my mom and dad, they were like, all right, you can't really just, you know, do this for the rest of your life. You have to do something, right? And as a Filipino parent, they said, okay, like Mike, you have options. This is gonna be good. You could either be a doctor, a dentist, a nurse, or we're just gonna have to disown you, Mike. And I'm like, Mom. So because of that, you know, I realized I was like, maybe I'm just gonna become a dentist. That was kind of like the thing. My mom is a nurse, my dad was an engineer, and I thought, okay, well, they work 16-hour days. They look so unhappy, and in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, if I just get a job that would make more than what they currently have, then maybe in my brain, like I just thought that maybe that would give me the freedom to actually help them out. So long story short, what happened was that was what initially got me into dentistry. I like started like making money as a dental assistant, just throwing money in a bunch of different projects. But still, so many things failed, so many things failed, so many things failed until one actually hit. And I remember when it actually hit me, right? I was at a Tony Robbins event, for those that are familiar with the story. And one of the like investments that I made on my mom's credit card when I didn't have the money was, I was like, I'm just gonna bring them to a Tony Robbins event. And it was amazing because I remember there was like 5,000 people in a room. My mom and dad thought I was like some part of cult, right? Because like you go in, they show up late, everyone's like screaming and like moving their hands up, and they're like screaming Tony's name, and my mom and dad were like, what did I just like sign up for? And I was like, mom, dad, just wait, just like sit down, it's gonna be good. And I remember though, one of the craziest exercises that he did, and it was probably some crazy like NLP marketing thing because he's been doing it for like years, but I remember when he had everyone close his eyes and he dimmed down the lights, and he had the crazy like purple, like galaxy looking, like crazy graphics in the back. And he had everyone visualize what it would be like on the last day of your life. You know, imagine being in the room, looking around, looking at your parents, looking at your loved ones, every single person around you on the last day that you have on this earth. And then he said, okay, I want you to also imagine all of the dreams, all of the goals, all of the things that you could have accomplished had you have not been so afraid to actually take that chance. I took that emotional anchoring of like that deep-seated pain and looking at my parents in struggling, working 16 hours a day as a nurse, as an engineer, and I was like, okay, like I have this much time on this earth, they have this much time on this earth, I literally have to go through as many failures, as many rejections, as many bad things to actually not only get the lifestyle and the freedom that I want, but to actually help my family, help my friends, help my fellow human beings, make the world a better place, leave something better than what you found it. Now, I was 18 years old when I got started in entrepreneurship, right? And my entire life, my mom and dad, they loved me so much, but they came from a family where, you know, they lost a lot of money in entrepreneurship back in the Philippines when they immigrated here, and they had this like soul idea in their brain where like, you know what, this job thing, this is the only way to create stability. And I remember ever since I was young, you know, they were instilling these beliefs inside of me, and it wasn't even their fault, it's just because like that's how they were trained. And I remember it took, you know, one of my initial mentors, his name was Zach, and I'm so grateful he came in my life when I was 18 years old to see potential inside of me before I could actually see it in myself. And I remember I was like 18, I was like in college, I was still focusing on becoming a dentist, and I remember he came in and I was kind of like hesitant to learning from him because number one, he had like bigger biceps than me, and number two, he had like a cooler life than me. So initially I was like, ego, I was like, no, I can't learn from this guy. And that's kind of like when I first learned the first thing on what it actually means to get the lifestyle that I wanted. And I had to accept two different things. Is what is your willingness to learn? And what is your willingness to accept change? For me, even though I did it when I was 18, I forgot that simple concept. And the second thing, when I understood that ultimate vision, I needed to, number one, like audit my current life and my current business and ask myself, is this what I was meant to do on this earth? And to audit it and see like if I should do something else. And that's kind of like when I understood that, number one, I had to continually invest in myself, right? I remember like to talk to this guy, I invested like $6,000 to go all the way to this event. It was like private, I had to apply to get in, I had to like go and meet him, but it was just so beneficial when I had this conversation because I learned so much. And the second thing that I learned from that was, you know, find the one thing that you're good at and start creating a list of all the things that you suck at. You know, as entrepreneurs, our amazing thing is we're really talented. Like we could figure out basically anything. And because of that, the problem with that is we start getting good at everything when we should get really good at only one thing, your zone of genius, and outsourcing everything else. So that's what I started doing, because before I was like, oh, I'm really good at this. I don't need anybody else. But I defined the one thing that I was good at, and I just started, you know, partnering with people whose skill sets and zone of genius complemented my inadequacies. Don't be afraid to dream as big as possible, because instead of you asking yourself if you're worthy enough of your goals, ask yourself if your goals are worthy enough of you. Thank you.
So basically what I did is I left high school at 18 like most people do, and I had no ambition or anything like that. I joined the military, and for the next 4 years of my life I worked as a firefighter in the U.S. Air Force in Dallas, Texas. Now, I'm not going to go into too much about my military career. Near the end of it, it really sucked, and it was a combination of I was a big old turd, and my bosses were big old turds, and I'm very thankful for the experience because it gave me the fear and motivation needed to actually have to go, man, I cannot do this for the next 40 years of my life. I have to find something else to do. And if I have to do this for the next 40 years of my life, like I just can't. I cannot do this. I am extremely unhappy. I can't let this go on. So that is my reason for getting into this. I didn't do this because I had some big dream of changing the world. I didn't have some Elon Musk-like ambition. I was just a dude who was sick of what he was doing and sick of the people he worked for. I wasn't trying to get rich. I wasn't trying to become some multimillionaire. All I wanted to do was make, you know, $2,500 a month and play World of Warcraft and Skyrim all day. That was my goal. So I had saved up about $6,000 over my 4 years in the entire Air Force, and I left the Air Force and I got into this thing called SEO. What SEO actually is, if you go Google anything right now in Google, the sites that show up first are obviously going to get more traffic. And what SEO does, essentially, is where you go and manipulate the Google search engine to make your website show up higher in Google, so when people search for, I don't know, best acne cream, whatever, they go and land on your site and they buy that acne cream. And so my grandmaster plan, while I was about 6 months to leave the Air Force, was to learn SEO, get out, use this $6,000 as a buffer, and then go and build my business so I can make a passive income on the internet, you know, all the stuff you see on other channels. I was sold that too. I was like, whoa, this is gonna be so cool, I know the secret to everything. And it was a lot harder than I thought. So I got out, I used that $6,000 to pay rent, give me a little bit of a buffer, and I developed an SEO skill set. And honestly, it took me a lot longer than I thought it would because I did a lot of this on my own and I didn't really listen to a lot of other people. Then at that point in time, I started hanging out with more SEOs, I started talking to more people, and I got the skill set down. And about 5 months into it, that's when I was finally past the point of breaking even and actually making money. I actually remember there's like $1,500 left in my bank account. I'm like, holy moly, you know, this is maybe not the best idea. Maybe your dad was right. And that's when my first site started showing up. That's when one of our first businesses actually started ranking for a lot of keywords. We started getting a lot of traffic to that. And then I also actually started signing SEO clients and whatnot. So that's essentially how I got my start. I wasn't some guy that had some Elon Musk ambitions. I didn't want to go and fix the planet and build some billion-dollar businesses and buy a bat suit and drive around the Batmobile and fly around private jets. I simply just wanted enough money to not have to be in the Air Force anymore, and have enough money to just chill out, do whatever I want, play some video games. As time went on, I realized I could make as much money as I wanted. Once you make $3,000, it begs the question, can you make $5,000? Can you make $10,000 a month? And so what happened is I slowly transitioned from some guy who had no goals or purpose to a person that had a lot of purpose. And I started learning that I really like to create stuff. And so a little bit into this, I got a job at a marketing agency. And at the same time, I also started a business that is now SourceWave. You might have heard of it, you might have not. If you're not in SEO world, you probably haven't heard of it. Anyways, what this originally started off was this tiny little blog right here. It's the ugliest thing on planet Earth. It was embarrassing. But I blog about SEO, I teach SEO, and I attract people to the site. And what this turned into is it turned into a full-fledged SEO anything business. We'd sell SEO services, we'd do SEO client work, we'd sell SEO courses and products, we'd make SEO software, anything under the sun that we could sell about SEO to clients, for websites, whatever, that's what we did there. So that business turned into $1 million a year profit business. So within about 2 years of me starting my internet marketing career, I was making over $1 million a year. That was pretty dang neat. That was pretty cool. And don't get me wrong, as a 23, 24-year-old making $1 million a year, I acted like a real goof troop. I'll just leave it at that. But while we were doing this, I got really, really good at paid traffic and email marketing. That's just what I focus on. I bring people in through paid traffic, build a relationship, send them emails, sell them stuff. That is what we did. And so I got really good at paid traffic marketing and analyzing exactly how much every single email that came into my business was worth. So after looking, that was it. I rinse and repeat that method to become a multimillionaire, to go from making $1 million a year to multiple $1 million a year. So there was a point in my life where I was very lost, and it took me way longer to become successful than it should have. I could have been successful in 3 months and stuff like that if I'd known how to think the right ways to look at things and stuff like that. And honestly, when I was in the military, I stumbled upon people doing SEO on some forum, and then I looked a little bit more into it. But if it hadn't been for those people, I would be washing fire trucks right now. If I hadn't had some voice, which was these small people that are very hard to find on a forum saying, dude, this is what we're doing, this is how we're, getting freedom and stuff in our lives and stuff like that, I would be stuck washing a fire truck right now. I would be making, $25,000, $27,000 a year in the military instead of making that every single day on average. That's where I would be. And here's what I want to do. There's so many mistakes I made along the way, and nobody at that time was going out there and putting out real information. No one was actually giving people the hard truths. And usually most people that are making entrepreneurship videos, they coddle people. They don't tell them that life isn't going to work out. They don't tell them that their life is going to suck. They don't tell them that they need to, sack the heck up or nothing's going to work out and they're going to be poor for the rest of their life. I want to actually tell you that. And I want you to do that because I wish someone had done that for me sooner when I was 16 years old. I wish someone had said, dude, there are other ways to make money. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to do the things. You don't have to stay in jobs you hate. You can go out there and build a business you want. So